So, Miss Sandra, thank you for giving us the opportunity to share the passion for this organization we're going to get into. And um, man, I'm excited about this one. I never had the opportunity to, I'm sure I had the opportunity. I guess if I have to back up and say if there's really one regret in my youth is that I did not serve. Um, but now you have the opportunity to serve veterans that have actually served our country. So, won't you tell us a little bit about, you know what, before we get into that, I want to talk about how you and I met because you have a heart for people. So, I don't remember the year, but you and I met when you were working for Family Promise.
Right.
Um, I don't know where y'all were originally started the facility at, but where we connected was with a real estate company, a different real estate company at the time, and we were getting the new place revamped and
Right.
helping you guys move in. And then we got involved in a lot of the different fundraisers y'all have, and that
hmm
was with Family Promise. So tell us a little bit about how did you get connected with Family Promise back in the day?
Well, back in the day, I was working at Grace Place Ministries over on Jackson Street, and I happened to meet Guy Barr, which is one of the probably wonderfulest man I've ever met in my life. And he was like, "Hey, would you think about coming to Family Promise and applying for the director's job?" And I was like, "Oh, okay." So I did. And long story short, I started with Family Promise, and we started on, I want to say it was 10th Street over in Monroe, over
Okay.
in kind of the little scary part of town. We were using a church's like recreation area.
Okay.
And we had some offices, but it was a place for where our families could be comfortable as well and shower and keep their personal things. And it just kind of grew from there. I think I was there maybe a year, and I got this phone call from Tim Hammett, and he's like, "Hey, I've got a house I want to give you all." And I was like, "What?" So that's kind of where, we, Holyfields came in and
Yeah.
they started doing that. And we moved in, and that's when I met you, Brian. And you know what? I'm bad because I can't remember the year either, but
Yeah. I don't remember the year, but you were very instrumental in opening my eyes to in our community to the I would have to say that I grew up in a middle class, some may even would say an upper middle class lifestyle, and I didn't get exposed to a lot of the least of these in life
right.
as growing up. This podcast is possible because of your support of our real estate business. If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, I'm confident we have the tools and the processes to help you reach your real estate goal. For more information or to reach out to us, check out the podcast description for our contact info. But as I grew up into an adult and you kind of get exposed to a lot of different things in life, man, it just my heart breaks for people that are in those
Yeah.
situations. And I understand that some are there because of choices that they've made. Some are there due to mental health, and some are there due to no fault of their own. It's just a
Right.
series of bad luck.
Yeah.
And even for those who find themselves in that place where they were the reason that they're in that situation, my belief says everybody deserves a second chance.
Right. Absolutely.
Everybody deserves an opportunity to be able to right themselves. And I really feel like Family Promise really drilled in on that into people of what they were doing, and it really opened my eyes to being able to volunteer and to understand the needs that are out there. And the needs are really great.
Yes, they are.
So through Family Promise, you end up transitioning back into the corporate world. And I believe that's where you're still at today.
Yes.
But something new has been laid on your heart at this point, and it's just based on our conversation, just out of strictly a passion of love and a caring to give people. Because I mean, it's all volunteer. You're not getting a salary from this.
No.
So let's talk to us about the what is it? Project for Hope. That's what it
Right.
is. So tell us a little bit about that, and why should we care about that? Why is that important to our community?
Well, it's because it's surrounded by our veterans and what we need to do for them. And Project for Hope started in late 2015. Steve Lindsley and I were kind of the founders. And we just knew that we weren't sure what, but we just knew that we wanted to do something to help our veterans. And a couple of years went by, we got our 501c3, and we're trying to figure out, we were helping veterans in the meantime, veteran families mostly. You know, we picked out 15 families and we did Christmas gifts for
Okay, I was going to
them.
ask, what did that initial help start off looking like?
Oh, right. We were helping families with utilities, and some were rent, providing Christmas for some families and food, school clothes for veterans, children that, you know, they're just down on their luck and they need some help. We actually roofed 3 houses through Rain Tight Roofing and Elite. They were a big, you know, instrumental part of that. So we were able to do that for 3 veterans. And it was just a kind of, you know, hey, somebody would give me a call and say, hey, we've got this veteran that needs this. And it's like, okay, talk to my board members, let's do this. So it's been kind of that way until we got the property. I just
Before we
happened,
get into the
okay,
property, I want to back up just a little bit because I don't think people really understand when a need arises, it's not just, well, at least it's been my experience. You correct me if this is a little different for you guys. But when a need arises, it's not just I need help making my rent payment. You start digging a little bit deeper and you find out that, man, maybe there's some stuff I can help this person with because they are a veteran with some services. Now, in the early days, did you guys have y'all been in a position where you're able to help any of these veterans to secure any service that would be made available to them?
yes, we've actually helped. One of our board members works for the DAV, and they've been able to help veterans get like their Social Security cards, their DD 214s, information about extra benefits that they would qualify for. And we pointed several veterans that just needed some counseling, you know, to find out, okay, where do I go next? What do I do next? And so we've been able to do that as well. And we still do that today. I've got some great people that work in the veterans organizations that will sit with our veterans. They'll mentor them. They'll help them, you know, move forward in different directions that they need to go in. So we still do that today.
How many, what year, do you remember what year you started? Y'all started this 501c3?
Late 2015.
So in 2015 to present date, any idea of the number of veterans that you guys and their families you've been able to
Oh my
assist?
goodness. Just right off the top of my head, I'd say at least 50 or 60 families.
50 to 60 families. Wow. And I think a lot of people don't realize that just because you serve doesn't mean that you understand how the government works.
Right.
And that government part of it gets really complicated really, really quick. And how it's just overwhelming to a lot of people. And just to have an organization that's willing to pour into somebody and say, look, I've got somebody that can connect you here because lo and behold, there's going to be some services
Right.
that we can help you with that's going to help give you a leg up. And for some of these people, I'm sure they're not in despair, but they just need a little leg up, right?
Right. That is true. And even one veteran comes to mind. He's an older veteran, and he has Agent Orange.
Okay.
And he tried, there's extra benefits for that. And he tried for 6 years to get the benefits for that. And he finally just gave up. I was able to, through the Veterans Affairs Office in Union Parish, I was able to connect him with someone, and she had it for him in 6 months.
Yeah, so it kind of goes back to sometimes it's who you know or to
That's
be able to
right.
make the connection. Bureaucracy can man, if we could just get rid of that, I think we could all be saving in taxes and life would be so much easier.
I
But I don't
know.
see that changing anytime
No,
soon.
I don't either.
So let's advance it. So you guys are now working on something I think is absolutely amazing. We have if you ever listen to the news and you hear these cities talking about the homelessness that is real, and I feel a lot of that is due to the mental health state
Right.
in many cases for people. But it doesn't seem like many cities are actually taking the bull by the horns and coming up with a solution to
Right.
help fix that. It's just, it's okay if you want to put a tent on the side of the road. It's okay if you don't want to go use a restroom and it's out in the open. But you guys are taking a little bit different stance on that. So tell us about what the when y'all got access to this land, what you plan to do with it, or
Well,
have already done with it.
right. We've had the land for about 4 years, and of course, COVID messed everybody's life up. So we cleared the property, and our goal was to put cabins out there for homeless veterans. They're
Hmm.
just small, like tiny homes, and we have three out there right now. We just had our septic system put in. You talk about I can't say that word.
I'm with you,
Okay,
bureaucracy.
thank you. Um, it took me 8 months to get a permit
Yeah.
just to put in a septic system.
I don't think many people realize that in real estate everything revolves around sewer. If you can't get that sewer permit, you're not getting water. You're definitely not getting power out there to it. So everything sewer's got to get fixed
Yep,
or figured out.
that's right. Now there was power poles and power on the property. We just had to have the meters, put in. And Claiborne Electric was very instrumental of coming out and doing that and servicing, and they did that for free. So we were very blessed in that area. Septic was a little bit different,
Yeah.
but we had a gentleman come and he said, if you'll buy the tank, we'll put it in and supply all the pipe. So it's God has been just so instrumental in all of this. And so we have three cabins.
How much land did y'all start with?
We have 8 acres out
8 acres of
there.
land. And so we have three cabins. Did they define how many cabins you can put on this land?
We can put about 15 cabins out
Okay,
there.
fantastic. So
So we're
tell me about the first one.
okay. The first one, gosh, how did we come by that? One of my board members knew somebody that knew somebody, and we actually purchased the cabin.
Okay.
We got it at a good price, and we started on it immediately after we got it delivered out there, and it's almost done. The other two cabins, we have purchased those as well, and that's all been through. I do write grants and things
Mhm.
to banks and different businesses that offer that. And so we've been very blessed with being able to come up with the funds to buy the cabins. We've had materials donated. I mean, it's been phenomenal.
So if you could go in just a little detail of how, the vision that the board has for this organization. Tell me a little bit about how y'all envision of utilizing these cabins for veterans and kind of what that process would look like in case someone's listener knows someone that could use some help now. What would that process look like?
Okay, so once we have a cabin that they can move into, I will work with the Salvation Army and Wellspring because when a veteran comes through their program, and the term is you have to vet them.
Mm-hmm.
And so they already have all the information and they know whether or not that they can, actually enter the program. They do have to be sober and not on drugs or anything. We do have a facility that we've partnered with that will help with that. And then after they get clean, then they can come into the program.
Okay.
We'll offer counseling and just simple things like cooking classes, how to balance a checkbook, um, job readiness, anything that they need to get back on their feet. They'll be allowed to stay there for 6 months.
Okay.
And
But during that 6 months, you guys have an organized plan to try to help get them back on their feet,
yes,
whether that means services, education, or even help with job placement.
right.
So, do you feel like that can be that it's an achievable goal in 6 months for someone?
Because I was at Family Promise. We're kind of using that model
Okay.
to move this into for our veterans because I could see we had some families that could, move through the process in 2 to 3 months. Some took longer.
Right.
Um, and it's really going to depend on the veteran or because a lot of it is mental health issues. and that depends on, us getting them the right people to talk to, getting the right counseling, maybe the right medication. So if they are working the program and they seem to be maybe a little slower than others or something, we will extend that time. We want to help them. We don't want to just say, well, you're not working the program or whatever.
Sure.
If you're not working the program, let's find out why. What are the roadblocks that you're having? Those kind of things. I don't want to just turn somebody out on the street again because
Right.
that's where they came from.
Sure. And that's just, it's a revolving door that's not really doing anybody any good. And you don't want to take up a bed that you could help someone that really wants to put the effort into
Right.
it. And I'm sure that has to be hard to be able to make those decisions. Now, based on your experience from Family Promise, when you bring someone and you give them hope, how powerful is that?
Oh my gosh. I can't, I'm not even sure I can put into words how powerful that is. And I still today will run into maybe a mom or a dad that's like, hey, Miss Sandra, I was in your program, I mean, it's so awesome to see where they are today and that they're working and their family's doing good. It just really warms my heart.
So is that where your paycheck comes from? Through this is just being able to see the lives that you've changed, or the little bit of, um, well, it's not a little bit. Hope is it's a powerful thing if you use the right way
It
to
really
give
is.
somebody, but also to be able to witness it while it's actually happened
Yeah.
has got to be great, and be able to push you forward, because I know that you have to be in situations that are not successful to be able to appreciate when something is successful.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
So when do you feel like the first cabin is going to be up and operational?
We are looking at around the first of fall this year. We have our well estimate, and we have actually some people that are going to help with that. It's $41,000. It's a lot of money. And so, as long as we can get that done within the next few weeks, I can get some volunteers out there to help us finish up the cabins. We have all the materials we need.
Just
Um,
need the labor to make it
we just
happen.
need the labor to make it happen.
So what type of describe these cabins to us so we kind of have an idea of what we're talking about?
Okay, when you walk into the front of the cabin, you'll see like a kitchen and living room area. When you go a little farther back, they're about 325 to 375 square
Okay.
feet. There'll be a small bedroom, a nice sized bathroom with a shower stall, and of course a sink and a lavatory. And it'll have a small kitchen. There will not be a stove in the kitchen. They'll
Okay.
have like um, with some microwave
Okay.
and like maybe a little two burner type thing. But what we want to do is in the community center, we want to have a nice big open kitchen where we can do cooking
Okay.
classes, where the guys can come together and maybe take turns cooking meals and kind of,
So the
mentor each
layout,
other.
if I'm understanding you correctly, so we've got about 8 acres of land. We currently have one cabin that's just about complete and two others that
Hmm.
are in process of,
Yes.
and but you have a community center on site as well.
We don't have the community center yet.
Okay.
That
So
is that will be something I spoke to a gentleman about having some more of the land cleared so we can get that done too.
so what is your vision for the community center? About how big is it? What's going to be included in there?
Um, how big? Oh gosh,
Probably as big as you can make it, right?
yeah, right.
You want to serve as many people, but we're basically talking that you're not going to have necessarily shower facilities in there because each one of the units will have their own
Right.
shower. But you're looking for like just a common area and like maybe a kitchen where they can have some like maybe communal cooking, a place to gather and have, I don't know, possibilities are endless. I mean, if
They really are, and we want, of course, we'll have a couple of offices and classrooms. We'll have computers for them if they need to take classes online or anything
sure,
like that. Job, resumes and things. Um, I'll have an office there, a part-time office there, and we'll have a laundry facility for
okay,
them so that they can,
that makes
do their
sense.
laundry.
What do you think are some of the biggest challenges you guys have from getting this up off the ground?
Money.
money?
volunteers. Um,
Probably need a lot of both, don't you?
we do.
So the funding streams for this is going to be probably on the back of volunteers and individual giving. I think you mentioned that you try to apply for any grants that may be
Yes,
applicable, but we really need a community that's engaged to make it happen.
we really do. And any nonprofit that's successful that does things like this, you have to have the community back you, or it's very, very hard. We've had great success here, just actually within the last few months. Of Irby Lighting came through
Oh,
and
great.
donated all the rest of the electrical and lights that we need to finish up the cabins. And like our sewer guy, he came out and he donated the piping and everything. So it's just finding the right people that want to give, and
Yeah.
some people want to do something. Maybe they don't have the money, but they don't understand that they can come and volunteer. Rick Godley calls it sweat equity.
There you go. And that's one of the reasons that I wanted to, when you reached out to me, I'm like, man, it'd be just a great opportunity for us to sit down and chat. I know there's a lot of people that want to help. Sometimes they just don't know how
Right,
to be able to help. And I'm here to tell you that or the people listening to this, that money is great, but you can get things done a whole lot cheaper when you have the feet on the ground, boots on the ground, the
right,
people that raise their hand and say, yes, sign me up. I'm here to do my little part. Uh, it'll take a whole lot more money if you have to pay for everything at
right,
retail prices. So
right.
volunteers are crucial. How many do y'all have? So you have a board made up of about how many members?
We've got 5
So
members.
5 members on the board. Have you guys had any type of work days that y'all scheduled for call for volunteers?
We have.
So what does that look like? And what do you think the next project day or couple of project day will entail for the types of volunteers you would need?
We need carpenters and plumbers, and we don't have to have a licensed plumber if you've done plumbing and you know how to basically do it. It could be somebody that's just maybe a fix it person,
Sure.
but mostly carpenters. We have the first cabin's going to need uh, some stuff on the walls and. Let's see, what else do we have to do in there? We have to put the bathroom together. That's
Okay.
important.
Definitely important.
I have had people reach out to me and say, "Hey, when you get them done, we'll help with furnishings."
Oh, fantastic.
So it's just
Now,
it's a
how do you
little
feel like
overwhelming.
that you're going to be able to connect with these homeless veterans? Where's going to be your source? I'm assuming that you guys are already connected and have people you're working with right now helping achieve benefits and giving them hope in other
Yes,
areas. But what is that main source that you've seen so far of people reaching out and connecting with y'all?
I would say it's businesses either donating or donating goods or being sponsors to events. That's a big thing.
But how are you finding the veterans to
Oh,
connect
how am I?
with?
I'm sorry,
Yeah,
I
that's okay.
misunderstood the question. We will, like I said, we will work with the Wellspring because they have a veterans program where they have, it's called the VASH program,
Okay.
and they have allotted monies that they can give veterans to find housing. The problem is, it's not a lot, and to find affordable housing,
Yeah.
and until then, they have to live on the street. So, what we could do is work with those veterans and bring them in, have them housing, go ahead and get them the tools that they need.
And can you imagine how hard it would be, even if you got someone that's willing to say, "Hey, look, I'm going to give you a hand up. I'm going to help you out. We're going to give you a little bit of money to where you can buy a few new clothes, and we're going to set up some job training." But if you don't have a place to live,
Right.
and you're trying to achieve all of that at the same time,
Mm-hmm.
and you're having to tell this employer that um, I'm going to be late because I have to live so far out because I don't have a place to live.
Right.
You're going to have to work with me on that, or someone can't come in to work with good hygiene because they have no place to clean up.
Right.
I can only imagine how difficult that would actually be.
I can't. It is very difficult. I was actually have been homeless way back in the day, way back in the day. And I lived in my car, and it was a very traumatic time. And I did have a job, but just wasn't being able to make ends meet. And um, I guess that's probably one of the things that drives me the most is that I think about those days a lot. God has never let me forget where I came from. And that was probably one of the worst times in my life, but now I can take it and I can turn it into something really good for others.
What was that one thing that was turned around for you to get yourself out of that situation?
Well, my dad stepped in, and who is also a veteran, and we lost him about 3 years ago. But he kind of stepped in and said, "Look, you're my baby girl. Come home." And he said, "I'll help you get back on your feet," and he sure did. And I still, wasn't making great decisions and things like that. And the minute I gave my life to the Lord, everything changed dramatically in my life. And I knew that I have to go from here and help other people so that they're not in that same situation.
Talk about hope. Having a Christ centered life and understanding what that gift truly is,
Yes.
um, that's more hope than you and I could give anyone. But I'll also tell you that that hope comes in from our Lord to the hands and feet of people like you, your other board members that have a passion for helping people that others have turned their back
Yeah.
on or have not thought much about or judge them harshly for the decisions they've made in
Right.
life, not willing to give that second, third, fourth, or fifth chance. Everybody is valuable. I don't understand. I think we need to do a better job as a civilization to understand that if I hold you to account for the worst that's ever happened in your life for your whole entire life, I
Yeah.
will never be able to see the beauty that you have and that can invest in my life
Right.
if I'm not willing to forgive. Now, there's people out there that do some real heinous things in life, and some would say they don't deserve to be forgiven. But our veterans and the people who have raised their hands say, look, I need help. We need to do our part as a society.
Right.
We don't need to lean on the government for everything. As a community, I do feel like we're called to take care of our own. If our own is willing to take care of themselves, there's some people we can't help
Right.
because they're not willing to help themselves. But for you guys to have a program where people have raised their hand, say, "Look, I need some help," and to be able to make a way to where I take for granted that I've got a roof over my head because I just always have. I take for granted that I got a vehicle I can stick a key in the ignition and, well, we don't need to push a button
Yeah.
nowadays, and I can go to work, and that I have hot water that I can take a shower every day and get cleaned up. I can brush my hair in front of a mirror in my bathroom to make myself feel better about the day. And there's a lot of people who don't have that.
Right.
But you guys have made a way and are you're in the process of making a way to be able to give that piece of humanity back to someone who doesn't have it. Um, but you guys can't do it alone.
No, we can't. We need the community.
It does take community. And when I saw you out there, the last connection we made was at the air show, and
Hmm.
um, Carla didn't recognize you at that time.
Probably not.
I mean, so it was hot out
I'm
there.
older and fatter.
No, no, no. It was hot out there, and I had two kids with me. One of them was just so exhausted, and she's like, we just need to go. But seeing you out there and knowing that the reason you were out there is not for yourself, but it's for other people, as hot as that place was, and taking the time to just come track me down and just say hi to me, um, it just shows the heart that you have for people. It shows the commitment you have within our community. And I, people need to do a better job of trying to get involved. I want to preach on the matter, but tell me, if someone wanted to get involved today, how would they reach out to get involved? Where can they get more information about this?
They can go to our website, which is www.projecthopeforvets.org. They can reach out to me through Facebook. We have our ORVA, which is Ouachita Regional Veterans
Okay,
Association. Um, we have a Facebook page right now for our Hook for Hope bass tournament that's coming up. And I'm pretty accessible. I give my phone number out to everybody, which is 318-512-9449. And it's like, if you want to help, call me. If you need help, call me.
perfect. So let's talk about a little more specifics here. How much money do you need?
Oh,
Endless
wow.
supply, right?
Yeah, endless supply.
But you probably need one-time donations. You probably need reoccurring donations.
Yes.
You need people that specialize in skills willing to help, but you also need people that will show up every week to be able to invest in someone's life.
Right.
I think that it'd probably be helpful to know that you had some mentors that are lined up that maybe could come alongside of some people and just walk with them through this
Right.
process, make them feel like they're not alone. So the need is huge,
Yes.
but you're not asking everybody to give their life savings. You're just asking them to get involved, right?
Right.
But if somebody wanted to make an enormous donation, sounds to me like you guys would put it to good use.
We sure would. And um, because we're pretty sure we've got the well taken care of, if $100,000, and we could put in the community center, I could have the land cleared. I could even get some more cabins.
Do y'all have an
Um,
estimated cost on what each cabin material wise cost outside of labor?
um,
Or if you have just an overall cost of what each cabin, or a goal that you're raising?
we're trying to stay around $5,000 to $6,000 per cabin. And the cool thing about that
So wait a
is
minute. So you're saying we can provide a veteran housing and up to 2 veterans a year if they're on a 6 month rotation
Mhm.
for about $6,000
Now, are you
for the
talking
material.
for the
Just
material?
yeah.
Yes.
And all we need now is just labor to put them together.
Hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep.
$6,000 for the material so that we can bring a veteran in out of the rain and then right now out of the heat,
Oh, yes.
and give them a chance at a new start, a fresh start.
Yep.
Wow. So do you have, how is y'all's giving right now going? Are you having a lot of steady givers, or is it kind of a lot of one-time donations, or just kind of big drives that we have?
Usually it's just one-time donations, and of course, when I have a fundraiser, which we have to do, a few year, we have sponsorships and things. So we have to kind of do that at least 2 or 3 times a year.
Yeah, and I think it's important that people also know that look at your employer. I mean, your employer may have a matching fund that they need to donate so much money a year,
Right.
and I don't want people to miss the opportunity that yeah, sure, your giving is fantastic, but don't forget a lot of cases your employer will match that, especially if it's a national corporation,
Right.
and that's money that stays here in our community. Any and I'm not trying to take away from any of the national nonprofits that are out there. So when I say this, guys, give me grace. But money that is donated to a project like this is money that stays here in our community.
Right.
And just imagine that investment in an individual's life that went from unproductive to productive just does that much more of giving back to our community.
That's
So
right.
why would we not want to support that?
I don't, it can be overwhelming to people. It's like, I'm just one person. What can I do? I mean, if you could give $10 a month, I mean, that's $10 towards a veteran,
That's correct.
to help them get what they need. And, no amount is too small, not to us. And it's so important to think, you can do something as one person. You can give $10 a month, or you can come out and volunteer and spend some time on a Saturday and help us put up some sheetrock, or, do the things that need to be done. So I don't want people to think about it as a whole. it's like, oh my gosh, we've got, 10,000 homeless veterans and,
Sure.
what can I do type of thing. I want you just got to take it kind of a bite at a time
Mm-hmm.
and do what you can do. And then other people will come forward and
Yeah.
see that, okay, they can do this. We need to help.
You're not carrying the whole load yourself. You have a board that helps through it, and together we're going to achieve more. Um, I really appreciate the heart that you bring to our community, um, the people that you inspire along the way, and the passion that you have to keep pushing forward with this. So,
Thank
I
you.
just want
You
to
got
personally
it.
thank you for making this an opportunity in our area. I know it's not just you that's doing it. I know there's other behind the scenes, but I don't know them and I know you. Um, I want to make sure that we do our part to push you forward. So anytime you guys are having an event, if you'll let us know, we want to push it out on all of our social media. Not saying that we have the biggest reach possible, but we want to do our part
Yeah.
within the community to let the community know, hey, we have organizations that care about us here, and they care about, in some cases, the least of these
Yeah.
in our community, to try to help them get off the street and be productive citizens, and give them some hope.
Yes. We have some great other organizations like the AMVETS organization, CVMA 65, and they have done fundraisers for us. They've donated money to us, and they're full of veterans that want to come alongside our veterans that we bring into the program and mentor them and help them move forward. So having the older veterans is such a plus. And I'm not calling them old, so don't nobody freak out, but you know, their wisdom and the things that they've already been through in their life is so important to maybe a younger veteran.
Yeah. You know, reminds me of something. Another great leader in this area, Philip Thigpen. He runs the
Mm-hmm.
First West Thrift Store.
I know Philip.
And, listen to Philip talk about, kind of the origins of how it got started, and why that thrift store kind of stays in its lane, is that we have organizations that are really good at feeding people.
Mm-hmm.
We have organizations that are really good to help with other particular needs. The thrift store stays in its lane because they know that I can take and use this money to invest in local charities here,
Right.
nonprofits that are Christ centered. And it makes me think about what you guys are doing. You're not duplicating something that's already out there. You're taking an area that has not been served when it comes to housing and trying to
Right.
figure out a solution to make that happen, so that we're not overlapping with one another, but we are linking arms
Right.
with other organizations. Say, okay, you've got this going on, great. We're going to put this piece together that's going to be that
Yeah.
next step for them. So, what you guys are doing is fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for giving me the honor to sit down and just kind of explain what you guys are doing. And I hope that we can continue to do our part to advertise for you guys and push you guys
Mhm.
forward, because uh, I haven't been out to the place and I hope to. So next time y'all have a work day, I'd like to come out and see it. You
Awesome.
don't want to give me a hammer because I'll mess some stuff up, but I'd like to be able to see it so that I can explain it better to people.
Right.
And thank you for what you're doing.
Well, we appreciate you and Carla and for being a donor as well. And you guys do great things in the community. And I love John Ray. I've known him for years. He's a great guy, and you couldn't be in a better place.
Yeah, thank you for this. Thank you for taking the time to watch or listen to this podcast. We really appreciate your involvement. Please leave us a comment, or even better yet, subscribe to this podcast and hit that notification bell so that you can be alerted for every new episode when it hits.